Hello, Standoff, and yet I have another presentation from the Valon company leader, Muslim Qasser. He's going to speak about the COVID-19 effects and the changing landscape. Muslim Qasser, over to you.
Hello. Thanks, Ivan. I think it's a good time to start with this topic. I think most of the people in the world are already fighting this menace of COVID-19. And then what did I want to do today is just talk about a little bit more on this related to cyber threats. So this is a small agenda which I have put across for the cyber threats. We'll start with talking of landscape shift, how the overall threat landscape has shifted over a period of time, and how this has actually affected the overall working of multiple organizations and companies. Going forward, I will also talk about what are the activities which we are seeing on and off. So these activities are the activities more toward the cyber threats. Some are the threats which are using cyber as a medium, and some threats we will talk about today are purely cybercrime or cyber threat related activities. So we'll talk a little bit on that going forward. We'll also talk on TTPs because TTP is definitely very important aspect in terms of the new attack vectors. Because as we go along over a period of time, the threat actors keep coming up with new attack vectors and TTPs. So we have to ensure that we discuss in detail about those TTPs as well. So TTP typically stands for tools, tactics, and procedures, which are used by cyber threat actors. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about some examples, some live examples of various crimes which have taken place in last 6 to 8 months. Typically more of in 2020. And then we'll see some live examples, something which I've taken as of last few days as well. So I think this will be really helpful for everyone to understand what I'm talking about in terms of the new threat vectors. And then towards the end, we will definitely talk about the various mitigation strategies. How to mitigate with these threats, how to fight across these threats, how to ensure that we are able to stand upright and fight to these new age threats which we have. So going forward, this is the little champion, which I think most of us know very well. We have been in contact with these champion for good 8 9 months now, and I think almost every country in the world has been reeling under pressure with the COVID, and this is the what is actually happening to each one of us, where everybody is feeling heat. We are bound to use masks. We are bound to use variety of things and ensure that we are protected with the COVID. But in all, everybody is worried. Everybody in business are greatly affected. Things are not as usual. The economies of many countries are down. So overall, people are worried. People are frightened with COVID-19 over a period of time. But this is not true for everyone. There have been few people who are really having great time, and these are cyber threat actors. So, and for we will our overall focus of talk today will be on these actors, because these people have had time of their lifetime. We have seen over 600% increase in cyber threat activities in the COVID era, which is unprecedented, because we ourselves, if I talk about myself, I am in this domain, cybersecurity domain, for last 22 23 years, specifically in threat intelligence field, in for say last 12 13 years, and I have never seen such kind of activities happening all across my life as of now. So that is really unprecedented times, and these people are actually having great time of their life. Now, the question is why it is happening? Why when everybody in the world is having bad time, not able to sustain, how come these people are gaining so much across variety of things? So there are many reasons which we'll talk about. So the reasons are typically more of a landscape shift, because with the COVID-19 coronavirus, whatever we want to say, we have been bound to do lots of things in a new fashion. There were some things which we used to do old way. We don't do it anymore. We used to work in offices, not anymore. A lot of people are working from home. We used to go out in open, not anymore. A lot of people still prefer to stay at home. Still, in very similar fashion, the businesses who used to be flourish into the markets, most of those businesses are actually doing their work online. So, I'm sorry. So most of the people are actually moving towards the online business model. A lot of things is happening online. So there was an old way of doing things. There's a new way of doing things, and because of this new way of doing things, it takes time for everybody to adjust. It takes time for things to settle down. For this thing, we have no transition period which we have got. Typically, what you used to happen is whenever you're transiting from one state to another state, there is a typical gap or transition period of few years, like over a period of 2 or 3 years or 5 years, you come from one state to another state. But now we have to, or people have moved from one such state in last 4 or 5 months, which is really fast on those terms. So what has actually happened? What is the difference between what people used to talk earlier and how things are happening now? There are people, the employees who are working from home. I've already mentioned that. Uh, the organization's security infrastructure is not able to provide the adequate protection as it would have used to provide while you were having an in-house setup. So, for example, if you are working in office, then there is definitely a very good security architecture which is in place for official environment. There is definitely a area where you'll ensure you will have multi-layered defense. So till now, all the defense model and everything has been made to ensure that no threats comes to your employees as long as they're working from their office. But not anymore. People are not working from office. People are working from home. So that security infrastructure is not able to provide the protection to them, and because of that thing, the issues are increasing. Number three, it is very difficult to manage things centrally. When you're in office, you are part of a single domain, you are part of a single infrastructure. Your internet is regulated or can be regulated. The policies can be pushed across to your PCs from within your centralized infrastructure. Antivirus patches and updates, everything can be pushed very easily because every management is very much centralized. But what happens nowadays when people are not working from the office? It is very difficult because people are using a variety of devices. They don't have desktop to work at home. So at home now, full family is online. You talk about children; they are doing their online schooling. You talk about your other family members; they are also working online. So everybody is working online. The infrastructure is shared and limited, which does not provide any protections for the home environment. People might have to use their personal devices for the official use. Now, personal devices are difficult to control. You can't deploy any policies on personal devices in a very short notice. Nowadays, people have learned to do that, but when this all started, it was a very difficult. People wanted to just ensure that their business come back online as soon as possible. They become productive as soon as possible. So security was definitely something which was not very well thought about during that time. Number four, sensitive data is being handled outside organization boundary. Earlier, everything used to stay within the company perimeter. The servers were inside, the desktop PCs were inside. You are working, connecting to the server sitting inside the organization. So sensitive data was handled very pretty decently. You had DLP solutions. You have multiple of such solutions which used to take care of all those things. But now, not possible. A lot of issues on that front as well. Software teams. So for the companies who are doing their software development, now they can't have a central code or a closed group collaboration within the organization itself. Uh, then they used to they started sharing the code via open platforms, and that's where the issues started coming as well. What we have seen in last few months, the majority of breaches has happened because their secrets or sensitive informations were leaked from the GitHub repositories. That is definitely an issue where software typically software developers don't take care of those things. They are more worried about coding, but security issues are definitely there. They will by mistake they will leave a secret key into the GitHub. They will leave a hard coded username and password over there. They will leave an IP address of an important server inside over in that repository. And utilizing those repositories, the threat actors are actually having a very good time. They scan these repositories, identify those areas, and then attack very easily. So without any much of problems, they're able to gain access to very sensitive areas of the system. It is difficult to enforce compliance because standards are distributed, work is distributed. You can't, for example, if you talk about SOC, Sarbanes-Oxley, or ISO 27001. Typically, these compliance are the compliance within the organization. Controls has to be there within the organizations. There is no description within these compliance standards. How do you protect when people are working from home? So that is definitely a totally a different scenario altogether. So I think this is the main idea where the landscape has shifted. Because of this landscape which got shifted, the issues started cropping up. And what actually happened was, with these shift and coronavirus or COVID-19 came to our life to affect us as a human being, and the cyber criminals who are on forefront, they started to attack us in terms of attacking our data, attacking our money, and try to make a lot of money. So basically, these are the people who had a great time. Let's talk about two of the types of crimes which were happening in these times. Number one is traditional crime. So the very traditional kind of crimes, but they started using cyber as medium. Right, that is important. We'll discuss very briefly about those crimes, but we'll put more focus on our today's talk onto the cyber crime itself in terms of the crimes which are happening using cyber as a medium, definitely, but those crimes cannot be committed in the traditional way. So those crimes are typically known as cyber crime in general. Let's go ahead very quickly about traditional crime. We have seen number of posts. So I don't have enough time. I don't have enough space on the screen to show you the magnitude of such things which we have seen. Sorry, over a period of time. So what you see on the screen is a snippet from one of the dark web website where they were selling coronavirus test kits, thermometers, and masks. These all are the fake posts. Number of such posts started appearing starting from February, March, and then even these posts are still continuing, where they are shipping those test kits or thermometer or mask over a period of time in that scenario. So that is definitely an important aspect which we have seen. We have seen the importance about the vaccine and COVID cure. So there has been a lot of lures, lot of fake posts where which talked about coronavirus or COVID-19 vaccine or the cure, and people have been selling this thing. You can see that thing on screen. That people have been selling this thing since March. Since so as we still don't know what is the cure of COVID-19. We still don't have the vaccine or a full-fledged vaccine. I'm sure people in Russia already have Sputnik 4 as a vaccine, but a lot of the world, people in the world does not have the, access to the vaccine as yet. But this vaccine, what you see on the screen, has been available since March, April, and people and the dark web people are so smart that they also knew about the cure. Only we are the or more foolish ones. We don't know what is happening on these areas, but you can see on the screen. This is very inciting. Infected blood. This was a very interesting post which I saw. As we know that during the initial time, the Western European countries were more affected by COVID-19, including the Italy and Spain. They had too much of havoc that time during the first time, and there have been a lot of death as well. So you can see this post over there. This guy claims that I'm a doctor from the Spanish Public Health, and I have obtained 24 blood samples, and I would like to sell it. He was offering $100 for these blood samples. So anybody wants, and you can just reach out to this email address. I don't know whether he still have the stock or not. By the way, he's also selling morphine. You want to buy morphine, you go ahead and buy it from these guys. You can definitely pay them. I don't know whether you will get delivery or not. Firearms, definitely very important because a lot of people are dying. The lot of shops were getting looted. People had no clue what to happen. They had to ensure their safety and to ensure that the safety, and then to safeguard themselves, they had to have some sort of defense. And the cyber criminals started taking advantage of that as well, where they started selling firearms on the dark web on variety of sites, where you provide you name which country you would like, and they will deliver the firearms to you. Drugs, as there was lockdowns in variety of places, drugs was not easily available, which used to be available easily. Now, where and how do you buy? So people started targeting those people as well who would like to buy drugs, and then there were posts on the dark web where these people actually wanted to buy a number of drugs and then scam people out of it. Money scams. You see that this is my last slide about this specific topic, which talks about overall money scams. In that, what actually has happened was uh, it is not one country. What these guys have done is that how to scam and how to earn money across number of countries. This guy was selling a guide, which I think was 50 pages detailed guide, where you can run scams across these many countries. So you have number of countries mentioned over here. If you are part of that country, you can just go ahead, buy the guide for $20 and run your scamming across these countries. I don't know. This guy is still selling it, but if you have $20, go ahead and buy it. Okay, so going forward, I think we've already discussed the first part. Let's come to the more interesting parts, because this is what we are meant to discuss today for our talk, and have a more detailed discussion on that. So we'll talk a little bit more on cybercrime section. As I've been telling from the start, there's threat actors are having a free run. They have been very active across variety of themes. You see there are different kind of attacks. Number one is we talk about opportunistic attacks, where the motivation is money, where you would like to earn a lot of money is the motivation. So they would like to grab these opportunities and then earn money out of that. How do they do that? They run a variety of spam campaigns. Using spam campaigns, malware is delivered, and that helped them to carry out a variety of different things, such as data breaches. I've seen numerous. As I've told that in terms of our monitoring, I have seen 600% rise in cyber threats, cyber attacks. I've never seen so many data breaches, so many cyber attacks as we have seen in last few months. So ransomware, I think ransomware has been creating havoc all across the world. So we would definitely be able to say that in terms of 2020, ransomware has been one of the top threat vectors, which most of the company has faced a period of time. Then definitely, apart from those opportunistic attacks, there have been targeted attacks, which we also call as nation state actors, which take these activity and then utilize that for their use. Because in normal times, even for nation state actors, it takes a lot of time, effort, and energy to breach into a systems and networks for people, and then work towards that. What you see, I'll just write a few names over here of the teams which we have seen very active, and this is a very partial list. I can have pages and pages filled up with the names of the variety of teams which we have seen during these periods. So Lazarus Group, APT36, Hades, Vishish Panda, TF505, Kimsuki. So this is a very, again, a small list. We have seen much more during these times, and TTPs of those lists. If somebody wants, please reach out to me separately. I'll definitely be able to share what are the main APT groups which have been very active in these times. Who were the targets? How this targeting was happening? How and whom these people were actually targeting? Let's talk about which industry which was affected a lot. Number one, healthcare. Definitely, healthcare industry was affected tremendously. Why? Because the whole focus of whole world was on healthcare. We have not seen number of data breaches or targeting on healthcare as we have seen in these areas. Financial services, lots of banks, lots of financial institutions got definitely targeted. Media houses, because media houses were covering a lot of news items with the COVID themes and all, they got targeted as well. IT sector and the government sector. So these are the typical industries and sectors which got targeted during these times. What was the more things which they used to target? So during the COVID time, during COVID-19 time, the main targeting happened for technology enablers, because while people were working home, they need some sort of enablement to ensure that they are able to do their job sitting at home. So everybody knew that we are going to use variety of collaboration platforms, such as we are using Zoom today. Zoom, everybody knows, Zoom was heavily targeted. It's not only Zoom. Zoom actually made a lot of news when it was targeted. Although we have seen targeting happening towards GoToMeeting, we have seen active targeting towards Microsoft Teams, and lots of WebEx and all other platforms as well. Zoom, unfortunately, was not initially secured enough. It was easy and low hanging fruit for these threat actors, and that's how it got a lot of publicity as well. VPN vendors, as you're working from home, the VPN is a specific thing which you are working, and the VPN, without VPN, nothing is going to happen, right? So VPN clients and VPN server both were very actively targeted. Code repositories, I've given examples of code repositories in detail. Microsoft Office or similar products. So because we are talking about collaboration, we are talking about, so there was extensive use of online sharing, OneDrive infrastructure, Google Docs, all similar kind of infrastructure was actively used, and these infrastructure was actively targeted as well. Okay, so I think we have discussed about type of actors. We have discussed about whom were target. We have discussed about what systems were targets. Now let's have a little more discussion about TTPs in terms of how what exactly was seen as overall tools and tactics and procedures which was used by these threat actors. Infrastructure based attacks, we have seen massive scan and exploitation of RDP servers. Because why? It's very simple reason. RDP is a remote desktop. If you are not working in office, you are working from home, then you might need some way of or some means to connect to the systems which are in office. What is the easiest way? RDP. Everybody did not have good protections across there, so a lot of RDP came online during that time. And as RDP came online, we saw the massive scanning by threat actors on these systems and exploitation of RDP servers. Uh, Massive scanning exploitation of SMB services very actively. We have seen those services as well. We have seen active exploitation of CB0796. This vulnerability was leaked by error in by Microsoft, and this error actually costed them nearly dearly, because the vulnerability was not patched and the details was leaked. People quickly created POC exploits, and then the SMB services were targeted very actively. Very increased brute force attacks on SSH services. No brainer here. Attack on VPN services. We have seen very active attacks on VPN services. Mainly the VPNs which had previous vulnerable versions. So people created an online scanners by which they identify who is running a previous vulnerable versions of that specific VPN software or VPN concentrator, and then targeting was done. Active targeting was done for Pulse Secure VPN, Fortinet VPN, Palo Alto VPN. So these three were very actively targeted. Going forward, we also talk about the scanning and exploitation traffic we received on our big data honeypots. So we saw on our Elastic, so we were running with honeypot. We saw a very active scanning and exploiting traffic on our MongoDB and Elasticsearch honeypots. So I think that was because people were looking for open databases, and Elasticsearch, MongoDB, SQL Server, all these are very low hanging fruits. If you get these servers open, then you don't have to actually penetrate in the organization. You get access almost immediately, right? So in that scenario, going forward, vulnerabilities, we have seen evolution of magnitude exploit kit, where we've seen the total 7 vulnerabilities are packed together, which 0674 2020 was the latest one. We saw Lucifer, cryptojacking and DDoS hybrid malware, which was a collection of 11 vulnerabilities. Everything packed together. People started utilizing these as kits. APT31, a Chinese group, they had number of rats and lateral movement tools, which was packed into their tool set. They were using some targeted old vulnerabilities as well. Sorry. We saw the SMB vulnerabilities, as I've mentioned earlier, because SMB was targeted in 2020. So 0796 was the vulnerability which was mistakenly disclosed by Microsoft, and that was active targeted as well. Citrix, don't ask about Citrix. As we have seen, the heavy targeting of RDP. Citrix is very similar platform where it provides the direct view of your infrastructure. It provides you thin client systems where you can do a remote desktop and virtual desktop work. So Citrix was also utilized by many different organizations, and by use of these vulnerabilities, massive exploitation. We'll discuss some of the names as we go along, but large corporations, big companies were also affected by this thing. Microsoft RDP vulnerabilities we have discussed. So these are the few CVEs which I have discussed over here. 2019 to 2020 CVEs which were actively targeted during these times. Spam campaigns. People ran a variety of spam campaigns where definitely COVID-19 was very famous theme on the spamming. So you see the masks, sanitizers, funding campaigns. People, okay, funding campaigns means okay, I have lost everything, I don't have money left, please donate some money to me. I have a kid or wife who are in hospital, they need a lot of money, please donate some money to me. uh, they provide their bitcoin ids, and then utilizing those bitcoin ids, those targeting was done. Statistics website. So this is very interesting. Nowadays, not much, but when the COVID-19 started, everybody was finicky. Okay, what is happening in my region? What is happening in the world? How many people got infected? How many people got discharged? Are there any people who got infected from my area? So there used to be a lot of statistics websites who used to provide these services. So these threat actors actually created lots of fake statistics website who used to collect data from real data from the WHO servers, show it on screen, which was being collected, and the on background, people utilize those sites to install crypto mining malware on the end user machines. Social engineering, refund scams, very common. Misinformation campaigns, because due to misinformation, it used to attach the attention of people. So there have been a lot of misinformation campaigns which was being utilized during these times. So what we have discussed now is okay. Great. We have discussed about TTPs, we have discussed about spam campaigns, we have discussed about vulnerabilities. So what? These things keep happening. It's what is new over here? What has changed now? Right. So that is what I think a lot of people are going to ask these questions. So let us do one thing. Let's talk about some attack scenarios. Right. So in these attack scenarios, what I've done is I have divided my scenario into two different sections. One is typically a cybercrime section where a normal cybercrime activity took place. Motivation have been towards earning money. So that is the cybercrime section. Number two, we'll also talk about the state-sponsored espionage kind of a targeted attacks kind of activity as well. So these two are very common themes all across. So let's talk a little bit in detail about these attack scenarios in terms of how these attacks are been happening for both of these things. Let's start with cybercrime. So cybercrime, there have been a lot of TTPs. Although so we will discuss a few. And these few ones are very important because mostly we will cover the gist of the overall activity because the number of activities of sheer numbers are so unprecedented that it is very difficult to talk in this such short time. But still, I'll try my best to cover the details as much as I can. Number one, data breaches, definitely important. I think this was something which is very common. We have seen that there was some issue happened with Twitter, and then because of those things, the campaign to earn money started. Right. So we have this the example which I've shared on the screen is of Bill Gates. Similar happened with Elon Musk. Similar happened with Obama. All the big lot of big personalities, Twitter accounts got compromised, and these kind of messages came out from their accounts, where number of BTCs were been asked to transfer, and the time duration is very short, and this thing, these perpetrators actually earn a lot of money as well. Number two, airline. I have not seen in my life such an active targeting of industry of airline. I've tried to cover some names over here. Again, this list is not very exhaustive. I will try to cover some names over here. Uh, EasyJet. I think this is something I think was also very well publicized. So I'll take some names over here which we have seen during our one-on-one interaction with variety of threat actors. Those names could have been in public, could not have been public as well. But this every of these names came out through our research. So SpiceJet was one of the Indian airlines. Pakistan International Airlines, ASL France, Mahan Air from Iran, Air Arabia from Sharjah, Dubai, UAE, Etihad Airways again from UAE, Fly Dubai from UAE, Iran Airlines, Iran Air Tour, LATAM Airlines from North American region, Allegiant Air from North American region, UT Air, I think it was from Russia, uh, Jazeera Airlines as well. So I think what the names which I have given over here, I've seen. We have interacted with the by number of threat actors all across, where the either their access, their data, or their network access was being sold. It is very scary. We have not seen, and this actually all happened in last few months. So this is not something which I'm talking about last 5 years or 10 years statistics. This happened in last few months, right? And a lot of airlines names are not there on open yet, so I've not discussed those things as much. The list could be really long as well. Uh, we have seen a number of hotel chain was breached as well, along with Marriott. Marriott is one of the example. We have seen many such chain which hotel chains which got breached during these times. We have seen Zoom. Definitely, we have discussed about it. There have been a lot of targeting on Zoom, and the data and account of Zoom was being sold on dark web, hacker forums as well. Now, what I'll do is I'll share something which is very exclusive, something which is which we have identified either during from the monitoring of dark web or from the engaging with the threat actor. Some other posts which were actually being posted on the dark web. Uh, as I've been discussing about the active targeting of VPN. So as you target more and more VPN devices, so there are 5, 6, 7 examples which I have tried to collate over here. Again, I'm not able to cover more details here because time is less, space is less. We could have covered lot many details, but I'm just trying to take very few examples over here. This I think this is post of yesterday or day before yesterday, where this actor post about bank, Indonesian bank, American university, and a portal of UAE government. So this guy was actually selling access at a very nominal price, $100, $70, $15 was the price which this guy was asking. Uh, Number two, access to the aerospace organization. So this was a company which was based out in California. So they had the full access, full control of the network along with VPN, and this access was being sold on the dark web. Uh, Multiple companies over here. You can see the industrial engineering and IT services company, real estate organization, industrial manufacturing and energy solutions, and you see what is common all across. They all have VPN as the common threat target, right? So VPN have been very actively utilized for targeting. uh, Electronics manufacturing conglomerate. Now, imagine which company is this? Again, this post is like not more than yesterday or 2 days old, 2 or 3 days old. Came on dark web forum. This guy was actually talking about Panasonic, right? Selling admin rights on two domains in one of the branch of Panasonic, Panasonic India. This is what this was being sold on the darknet. Pharmaceutical company, Indonesia. I don't have the name yet, but this is the Indonesian pharmaceutical company which had a yearly revenue of 50 million, 220 employees, $600 was the price. What was being sold? VPN and network access of the company. One of the private equity firms in China, the access was sold for $4,000. What was here? It was RDP and VPN. Again, so same threat vectors. So I've just singled out VPN over here. I could have also utilized one vector as Citrix because Citrix is also equally targeted. We have same screen captures for the active targeting of Citrix system because Citrix NetScaler vulnerabilities was being exploited in wild very often. Although I have not covered those things over here in this presentation for Citrix over here, but yes, similar to VPN, Citrix was also definitely important. Next, once we have discussed about data breaches, we have discussed about network breaches, we have discussed about VPN breaches. What next? What is left? Which is big in nature, ransomware, right? So ransomware is, I think, the winner of 2020 is definitely ransomware because the kind of havoc with these ransomware have put in across in last few months. We have not seen these things in many few years. So I'm just listing down the top ransomwares over here. Revil, Nephilim, Netwalker, Doppel, Ruik, Maze, Zeppelin, Thanos. So these are the top ransomwares which we have seen in very active targeting. Netwalker quite a bit, Maze quite a bit, Zeppelin quite a bit, Nephilim quite a bit, Revil very active nowadays as well. So these are the ransomwares which have been very active off and off. Uh, I would definitely suggest a lot of companies out there to go ahead and build protection, at least in just IOCs for these ransomware. So these are the companies, big companies. They are not small companies by any means. And again, ransomware, sorry, victims have been in hundreds. I have just covered 8 9 companies over here, which was relatively on the bigger side. But overall, the ransomware attacks or ransomware victims have been in hundreds since last few months. What more? These people actually had their own sites on dark web where they used to release the data, where they used to talk and things about that. Although Maze ransomware people have told recently that they are shutting down the operation, who knows? We don't have any confirmation yet, but they have self-proclaimed that we are shutting down our operations. Good if that happens. So this is what we have discussed all about the cybercrime, a kind of an activity where more of the activity was towards earning money. Focus was earning money. Let's talk a little bit more on the state-sponsored area as well, or espionage or targeted attacks or whatever you would like to say to these areas. So what happened in this stage? What were the TTPs which a lot of these teams? So over here, I'm not going to talk about the names of the teams. I'm not going to discuss about individual TTPs across each of these teams. I'm talking about what was in common across all of these state-sponsored attacks which we have seen. We have seen active use of open source and off-the-shelf tools. People do not have time. People started using open source and off-the-shelf tools within their tool set. Use of legitimate OS functionalities. Mimikatz is a legitimate functionality provided by Windows. Nowadays, all the threat actors use Mimikatz to decrypt credentials, to do the lateral movement, to move inside the network once they are inside. So this is not a malware, right? This is a tool and functionality of OS Windows itself. Repurposing of crime malware for target attacks. So we have seen a lot of different malware which was used for cybercrime earlier, but now suddenly they are being used by the threat groups as well. Agent Tesla definitely is one of them. Where Agent Tesla, which we have seen, was very actively earlier used uh, by ransomware groups or different kind of groups as a rat to deploy activities over there. But nowadays, we have seen the use of Agent Tesla in a lot of crime-related attacks as well. uh, Use of Google Firebase cloud messaging, use of sites such as Pastebin, Dropbox, GitHub for stage two hosting. Recently, we have seen when we were analyzing one of the Agent Tesla malwares, it used to pick up the stage two from Pastebin. So it was an encrypted document text which used to be there on Pastebin. This malware used to go onto the Pastebin, read the text, pass on as a stream to the machine, and that stream used to rebuild the file on the memory itself. So there was no chance of that this file or this malware will be detected during the transit. So none of your perimeter devices, none of your systems will be able to capture this, because this activity is happening legitimate. You're just visiting a paste bin. You're just taking a text data from there. Rebuilding is happening locally on the local machine itself. Very unique, novel TTPs which you have seen. Uh, some themes. How does people used to lure people? Discussed about spam low statistics sites. U.S. elections. U.S. elections were very famous for last few months. Now it is dying down, but over last few months, the anything which talks about U.S. elections were of interest to across the world, and then it was used as a theme as well. India-China border relations escalation. So I had done a webinar earlier a few months back when the tensions were tight or very active on the India-China border, and then both sides we have seen the active targeting of infrastructure on both sides. Uh, China and Australia escalations, Armenia and Azerbaijan conflict, the conflict with Turkey. So all of these were the very common themes which cyber or which the APT actors tried to capitalize on, and based upon these themes, they build their narrative. They build how they would like to attack and go ahead with the exploitation. Now let's talk about what was the most exploited list of vulnerabilities. This is again a TTP which we have seen common across lots of APT groups as well. Number one, Pulse Secure VPN, hands down, most targeted VPN services. Uh, F5, Big IP. Couple of I think last month or a couple of months back, it created havoc across because F5 was actively utilized as a load balancer across the world, and this was a 0 day which came in, and then they created an exploit out of it, and then a lot of targeting actually happened from there. Citrix, I've talked about that as well as an application gateway controller ADC. Citrix NetScaler as well was there. Windows Zero Logon, NetLogon, it was again a recent vulnerability which came in 2020. Windows DNS Server SIGRET. I think a lot of people have been talking about SIGRET as well. So SIGRET was used in a lot of APT campaigns. Zoho Manage Engine desktop setup. So this Zoho vulnerability actually came, I think, 2 months back. Moment this came because Zoho Manage Engine was utilized by a lot of people to manage their infrastructure. Quickly, cyber threat actors took that thing, created POC, created exploits, and added into their kits as well. Windows crypto API spoofing and Cisco's CD-PON vulnerability. So these are the many vulnerabilities which were being talked, discussed all across the APT groups or cyber threat groups. So what I've tried over here is I've tried to cover the cybercrime groups. I've tried to cover APT groups, kind of activities, kind of CVEs utilized for variety of targeting, how the targeting was happening. So we have discussed all those things, but everything is very scary, right? Uh, 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 when we are saying that there have an increase of 600% attacks, then it definitely scares us quite a bit, right? So idea over here is let's not get too much of scared. There's no need to panic. Idea is we should not get panic in these times. These attacks are there. It will keep happening, although it will increase. But we have to do what we are supposed to do as a security professionals. We have to ensure we are securing our boundaries. We are making sure everything is being taken care of. So let's talk about some takeaways from today's talk. What are the action points? What you should do? Number one, protect your human resource, because humans are definitely a weakest link. If you just try to make sure you provide some controls over there, you provide good protection over there, review your password policies, conduct mandatory awareness sessions across known actors such as phishing. So conduct active phishing campaigns within the organizations using attack vectors. This will help to train your employees as well. Conduct these kind of simulation activities. Ensure there is always a multi-factor authentication, because even if your password or credential are lost or leaked, your 2FA will definitely save you. Send a regular reminders, warning reminders to your email, to your employees, because see, all the employees are not tech savvy. There are people who are working in HR department, people are working in administration department, and different departments are there where who are not very tech savvy. They might not understand a lot of jargons. You have to keep reminding them in terms of what they're supposed to do. Keep them making aware of the situation overall. So that is really important for you to do. Implement a virtual, instead of letting people use their own desktop systems where you can't have an centralized control. Try to use virtual desktop. There are a lot of companies offering these solutions nowadays, where you can purchase virtual desktop and deploy within the organization, and then you can manage and control all those VDs environments centrally. Right, so that definitely makes a lot of sense to ensure that you are able to go ahead and work on those things. Some more action points. Try and prioritize your vulnerabilities. So I'm sure everybody is doing active vulnerability scanning, penetration testing. So ensure that don't look at CVSS scoring and patch it. You prioritize vulnerabilities which are being actively exploited. So I've given list of lots of CVEs in this presentation. So if you have any one of those CVEs, go ahead and patch them first. It is possible that those CV might be listed as medium or high in your vulnerability scan and not critical. But you have to see which exploit or which is being which vulnerability is being exploited in the wild. Patch those things first. So that is what you should do is how many vulnerabilities are there. Try and fix and match, pack those vulnerabilities as well. DDoS protection. Definitely, you can subscribe for the Cloudflare and Kamai. This is my last slide in terms of what can be done. Continuously monitor leak credentials. Do a force password reset, reuse. Don't ensure the password are not reused. If you are part of breach list, do not panic. Definitely, you are at risk. You should expect spam. You should expect ransom emails. You should expect a lot of these things. So identify spam emails, report those things, block those things. Uh, Actively ingest all the IOCs related to recent tracks into your SIM or SOC, wherever it is, to ensure and block as per the requirement. Monitor any abnormal activities which you might see. Monitor any login attempts which might you see. Okay, something is happening late in the night. Why it is happening in the off hours? So do monitor those things and see why these things are happening, and then quickly go ahead and patch and clear those things up. So I think what I've tried to do over here is that I've tried to give details about the variety of TTPs, how threat actors are doing it. I've also given some ways how you can try and mitigate those risks as well. I would like to uh, uh, ask if you have any questions. I'll be happy to answer those questions now.
Спасибо, Муслим. Отличный
Thank you, Muslim, for this excellent overview of these threats during the course of COVID-19. And please stay to take questions in the chat as they may come up with the questions a little bit later. But now I would like our next speaker to get ready, and please stay tuned. Thank you, Muslim. Thanks for joining us here, and have a nice day.